Hey, what's up guys, this is Guillermo Auto. I'm doing front brakes on a 2014 through 2017 Kia Sedona. I will put links in the description about the brake pads and any potential tools in this video so you can get those if you need them. Tools for this is 14mm, 17mm, a screwdriver, and a piston depressor. You may also need a rubber mallet, a hammer, or a mini air hammer. These are maybe though. First, let's get these 14mm caliper bolts off. These will come off. Go and get them loose. If this nut spins on you while you're trying to get the bolt loose, just hold that with some pliers or something, and then loosen it, and it'll hold it still. You'll be able to break them free. So I got my two out. I'm going to wiggle my caliper off. You'll be able to wiggle it off like this. Might require a little muscle. And notice these pads have the little springs in them. Yours may or may not have those. Some pads have them on, some don't. But I'm going to take my caliper here and go ahead and hang it over the steering knuckle like this. So don't stress the brake line. We don't want to stress that out. We'll just put it there so it'll be safe. It's kind of a heavy caliper. But yeah, we want to make sure that brake line is supported and not stressed out. And then I'm going to go ahead and get these springs out. You may need to reuse yours. What I do is I get a flathead and I just stick them right in here and pop it out one at a time. So I got these out. I'm going to go ahead and save these, put them somewhere safe. Pop the pads out here. Go ahead and get these out. And a 17mm is needed to get the caliper bracket bolts out. These will be a little tighter than your caliper bolts because these are bigger and they just get put on tighter. But I'll go ahead and I got those out. I just undid them. So I got my caliper bracket out. That'll just fall off when you get those bolts out and set that aside. So with your rotor held in by screws, and in a perfect world you'd be able to take a screwdriver and just undo these. 90% of the time they're rusted in or just blocked in. Like doing this will not get it out. You could try and you may just get it out, so that'd be great if you can. If not, there's multiple ways you can get these loose. This way, take a ball peen hammer and you put it like right above it, and then you hit the other side of the ball peen hammer with another hammer, like a bigger, and it should, like, the force of hitting it and bopping it will, like, you know, bust it loose, and then you could undo it. Another way is if you go to the auto parts store and get one of these, a little mini air hammer or a real air hammer. This one's like 25 or 30 bucks, and what you do is you just give it a little bop in the middle, and then you could take it and go up the side of the screw with it and just kind of unwind it yourself. This is like for like if it's really stuck on there. Restore your rotor though, don't damage your rotor with these. It's really easy too, so be careful if you do it that way. Another way is if you get a tool that's actually meant to do this. It's a little punch, and you hold it and you turn it, and then you hit the back of it with a hammer, and it'll knock those screws loose. It works really good. I'll put a link in the description to get that, and maybe for the other ones too. So check the description for links. But I got mine out. It's still stuck on there without the screws even on it. So I got my rubber mallet, and this is what I was talking about before. You might need these mallets and hammers, but I hit it off. I had like a little lug nut on the front so it wouldn't fly off, but I bumped it off with a rubber mallet. Don't do it with a real hammer because you'll damage it. So I got that on my lathe. I'm cutting that. Okay, so my rotor's cutting. Here are my pads. I got actual Kia pads. Here's my part number. The link I'm going to put in the description is going to be for aftermarket off Amazon, but these are OEM, so they come with hardware, and here's the pads. Notice this pad has a sensor on it. That's for the inside pad, and you put that so the sensor will be on the bottom. Also, I lube the bottom of the pads too, just a little bit of lube. On the caliper brackets, I take a little wire brush and clean the hardware off. If you're going to be reusing yours, if you're not going to replace them, you just come in here and I just kind of get all the dust and the grime away. And then also I pop out these pins and I lube them just with, you know, this is just general brake lube. It's fine. Take note though, the one with the black grommet goes on the bottom. So just go ahead and make sure you get that right. And then yeah, put some lube on those, put them back in. So I got this all set up. Got my new hardware in. And then I got my pins lube. Okay, so I got my caliper bracket back on. I just put it back up here. I put my 17mm in and got them nice and tight. You want to get those tight. And I got my screws back in my rotor to hold it in place. Now I got my pads I'm going to put in. Remember, the sensor on this one goes on the inside and on the bottom. And then see, I just put them in like this. And then my pads that I had on here came with clips. These ones don't have holes for the clips, so I'm not going to reuse them. Your aftermarket ones may or may not, so if they do, just reuse them or put the new ones in. Now I got to put my piston, I got to compress it so it'll fit over the new pads. So I've got my little tool that I'm going to use. If you have like giant vice grips, you could put like the old pad in here and squeeze them. There's a bunch of ways you could figure out, you know, Google how to like do it and you'll be all right. But I put this back on, Make sure your brake line isn't twisted or nothing. So brake line's good. I'm gonna put my caliper bolts in. Make sure those are in tight. Remember, be aware of that nut. Make sure it doesn't spin on you while you're tightening these. Make sure you get them tight. That's it, guys. Please double check all your bolts and everything. Make sure everything's good. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, check the description for any links. And I will see you next video. Thanks for watching.